Well, it's interesting. You know, Wayne is kind of a microcosm of Detroit. It's a diverse community, as is the city of Detroit. It has the elements of Detroit in the sense of it has all three groups. It has residential areas, commercial areas, and industrial areas. Well, I'm not the expert on it, but I know that Wayne was settled in 1824. Basically, it was settled because it was along the road that people took going from Detroit to Chicago and vice versa. And it was a stagecoach stop, Detroit, Dearborn, Wayne, Ypsilanti, et cetera, et cetera. But Wayne goes back a lot of years, and 1824 was when it was first settled. The first building in town was a tavern. It was called Derby's Corners, and the tavern on the first floor, and there were like rooms on the second floor, and people passing through stayed in the tavern and all. The US 12 is on Michigan Avenue. Next door is Stockdale's. Jake's Bar is around the corner on Wayne Road, and it's very distinguished in the sense that the awnings are replicas of the University of Michigan football helmets. But their Village Bar, a little further down Michigan Avenue, going toward Elizabeth Street. Been there for many years and a friendly place. And then on Elizabeth Street is a newer bar called the Avenue Grill is its name. But just in the downtown area, there are 5 bars that I would, feel comfortable going to. Bringing my wife to. All of them have decent food and very hospitable and friendly places. Well, we have a really cool historical museum. Given that Wayne goes back almost 200 years now, it's the original Village Hall, Town Hall. It's located at the corner of Biddle and Main Street. You can't miss it. It has 2 unfunctioning cannons out in front that are kind of a novelty and conversation piece. But the Village Hall was used for a lot of years until a new municipal building was built on Sims Avenue that is now the 29th District Court building. And when I first came to work for Wayne, what's now the court was City Hall. And we moved into this building in 1988. And this was the original community center, rec center, as it was called, for the city, built during World War II while Mr. Roosevelt was president. This building was built because of all the people that worked in the munitions and war-making materials industry out here at Willow Run and various places. And so they built community centers for them to go to for relaxation and fun. They stopped producing cars out at Willow Run and various other auto plants, and they built airplanes and tanks and Jeeps and what have you. And we have a nice park system here, where for a smaller community we have 18 parks. So there's parks throughout town, and you can walk to them or ride your bike to them or motor over to them if you wish. And we're quite proud of them. And it also functions to help us with when we have entertainment going on in the amphitheater. People can park and enjoy the concert series that we have in the summer. We own a theater. There's 2 municipalities that I'm aware of in the state of Michigan that own a movie theater. We were the first, and we purchased it in 1990. Reopened part of it in 91, and then the other half of it in 92.
Well, I became a councilwoman because at the time that I ran, I was also the director of the Wayne Chamber of Commerce. And there was great interest in the business community about the interactions between city government and the business community. I got on city council in 1987, and one of the priorities, as far as I was concerned, was that the city of Wayne would maintain the presence of the State Wayne Theater. The State Wayne Theater is a movie theater. However, let's go back to when the city bought it. It was in 1990, and renovated it, opened it up in 1991.
It was built by the Schaefer family, by Walter and Lillian Schaefer, and Both of their sons, Martin and Charles, were in the business with them. I believe their daughter also was at one time in the business with them, but Mr. Charles Schaefer still works with us on managing and helping us run the State Wayne Theater, and he remembers being, taking tickets and cleaning the theater up when he was a small boy, and he's crowd 90 now. He's not quite 90, but he's getting up there.
We're trying to make more money to keep the theater alive, to keep it as a part of the community. So first-run movies, people are going to perhaps be more likely to come to than the second-run movies. And open 7 days a week, that too was to see if it would gain more people coming in, particularly with the first-run movies being part of the program now. Plus, the State Wayne has probably the best popcorn around. A condition of reopening, of purchasing and reopening the State Wayne was to have the one area that would be the live theater. And we have a youth theater, and we have what we call ACT, the Adult Community Theater, that also puts on productions there, and they've been quite successful. Well, I guess my personal stake would be my granddaughter. She acted in many plays there. And I think that to have theater for children is just a wonderful, wonderful option for kids. I mean, sports are great, and they're perfect for some people, but theater is the perfect venue for other people. And I just watched the kids that started out and were unsure of themselves, and then all of a sudden, they're not so unsure of themselves anymore. They have the vocabulary, they have the ability to present themselves. It's a good self-esteem booster, I believe. And they've had a number of, not that many directors. Tracy Spada was one. The current one is Colleen Meyer. And they've done a tremendous job with the children. They really and truly have. They've produced some good plays.
Well, we hope that whoever buys it will continue to run it as a movie theater, and cities all across the state of Michigan are experiencing a great deal of budget difficulties because of the falling property values and less and less and less state aid coming from Lansing to help cities operate, and we're no different than any other community in that regard. So operating a movie theater is a wonderful thing. We've had a lot of fun with it, but it's not necessarily something that a city has to do. And so I recommended earlier this year that the city council consider selling the theater, and it wasn't a recommendation I wanted to make, but I felt it was in the best interest of the city for them to at least consider it. And they did go along with agreeing to put the movie theater up for sale. Ford was sent a tax bill, roughly speaking $3.1 million tax bill. And they chose to pay only $1.3 million of that tax bill. They felt that's what they should have been taxed, and that the bill we sent them was too high. The bill was sent to them based on the tax values established by the State Tax Commission. The State Tax Commission, however, last year in December adjusted those tax tables and said to the cities and villages, townships, counties across the state, these are the new tables to use if you want to use them. Ford paid their taxes based on the new tables, even though they were billed based on the old ones. And so we've been involved in discussions with them since October 1st. Well, it's not a subject that you can explain simply. Everything has value. Take this book, for instance. The day you bought it, perhaps it's worth, let's say, $25. After you've had it a while, one could make the argument it's not a new book anymore. And so it doesn't have as much value as it did the day you bought it. Some would say, no, that's not true, because some things, as they age, become more valuable. Paintings, furniture, etc., classic things. But on average, things devalue as they age. Well, we'd want something in the purchase agreement that the purchaser would agree to that would respect the mural, and that they wouldn't remove it. And so there would be a deed restriction. If they agreed to buy the theater, there would have to be a deed restriction where the mural would be kept intact.
Sometimes when you have something like that on a building that is owned by someone else, you can have problems.
No question about it. The United States auto industry is completely changed. I mean, two of the big three went through bankruptcy. General Motors and Chrysler both went through bankruptcy in 2009. Ford Motor Company considered bankruptcy, decided not to. And so no matter where you live in Michigan, with the way the manufacturing jobs have been lost, Michigan's going through a really difficult period. And it will continue to do so for the foreseeable future until something is done to attract more jobs to this state. Because without jobs, whatever they are, whether they're from motion picture industry or they're pharmaceutical jobs or they're aerospace or automotive, without jobs, people can't survive.
I hope to see the State Wayne Theater being open and operating and serving the community and the different communities around us, and still maintaining the live theater. That to me is very important.